Here we go. In three, 3.5. Wait a second. Let's turn these on.
3.5.
3.5.
1, 2, 3.5.
There we go. All right, hang it.
All right. Okay.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's time again for another episode of Health Talks with Dr. Trinh. The one show, maybe the only show that shows you how to live your life in a healthier way. With the man who's rejoined us here this morning. He flew from coast to coast. This guy's not afraid of any little COVID bugs or anything. He's flying all over the place here. Dr. Trinh, welcome, sir.
Hey, good to see you. How are you?
What am I allowed to ask? What took you to Virginia? Was it personal? Was it pleasure? Was it family? Was it professional? What was it?
Definitely, we have another Marine in the family. So I was in the Marines long time ago. I graduated from high school on a Friday and was in boot camp on a Sunday.
Wow! Oh
And
my goodness!
and so now I have to now I have to salute to my son because he's higher ranking than I am.
He is okay. Well, and so your son joined the Marines. That's not something everybody does these days, particularly during these tempestuous times. Is he just following in Pop's footsteps here? Or?
I'm only a measly corporal. He's a lieutenant now.
Oh, okay. Well, he's going to
officer.
forever laud that over you here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And so we're a proud family that want to serve this country. And
congratulations. Good for you. Good for you. I don't think there's enough of us left anymore here. I didn't serve, so I'm probably, what can I say? Let somebody else serve here. But so this is in Quantico. We went back to, isn't that where the Marines are, in Quantico?
Yes, that's where officer training is, and so they do training for all their officers. And
any idea where he'll be deployed first?
He's there for another number of months, just continuing training.
Okay.
Just finished the boot camp part of it.
Yeah, right.
And so yes, yeah, it'll be interesting to see where this lead.
Now I got to ask you before, we're doing an open mic today, folks, here for those tuning in. So we're going to wander around. This is Open Minds, Open Mic. That's today's theme. Open Minds, Open Mic. I'm going to open my mind to the possibility of joining the military here. What prompted him to do that? And here's why I ask. You grew up as an immigrant. He didn't. He grew up as a kid here in Orange County. Orange County is a little affluent, a little laid back, a little surfer, a little dude. Hey, and I don't see a lot of kids saying in that world, "Hey, dude, let's go join the military." Yeah, right on. Let's go. That's probably not their first. The counselors aren't in school saying, "Oh, let's see, you could go to UC Irvine, you could go to Chapman, or you could become a Marine." I don't think that's the top priority.
Yeah. And he went to UC Santa Barbara, got his college degree.
And that's a great school. First of all, it's a beautiful school. If nobody's ever been there, I thought, how does anybody ever study the spectacular on the ocean campus here?
I don't know how you study with a view of the beach on campus.
Yeah, I mean, that's spectacular. It's quite a spectacular spot. Okay, so he goes through all this, the normal Orange County routine. Yes. Grows up, his dad's a doctor. This kid isn't suffering. And he didn't experience a hardship or whatever payback kind of thing like you did. What led him out of college to go into the Marines rather than marine biology?
Yeah, very close, right?
Yeah, right.
Yes, I'll have to have him answer for himself, but I think it's a duty in a sense to want to serve and give back from the blessings that we have. And he knows my story, right? I was a refugee boy, evacuated on a Chinook helicopter.
Yeah.
And we're a family that appreciates our veterans, appreciates freedom, and we just want to give back in one way or another.
You say that humbly, and you say that with obvious sincerity, but you recognize that that's not the cultural norm today. I don't think that the general assumption, this is a harsh statement. We'll ask everybody, how many people out there served, and how do you feel about serving? Would you tell your kids to serve? We grow up in a world where we think, let somebody else do that.
Yeah, I guess
Not that we don't share the same sentiments. We love the country, want to do it, but
we all serve in different ways.
I got things to do here, and I got businesses to build and families to start and things to go. I don't know that I'm going to take that time out to do that, and the risk and the sacrifice.
Yeah, maybe it was the Call of Duty computer games he was
That
playing.
could be. That could be. That's exactly what pulled him in.
I played a whole bunch of that.
What did he graduate with? What was his degree in college?
Economics.
Economics. So that doesn't.
Smart with numbers. Very smart with numbers. Worked for a year. Did really well financially with work as a 22-year-old, doing well. But now sees another sense of duty.
Something was missing. I think that's fascinating because the rap against today's rap generation, there we go, is that they're slackers. They don't have the same.
Back in the 70s, right? During the Vietnam War, wasn't it like it's, you choose, like, if you did something bad, you were either punished or you joined the military.
Absolutely. I know people that had that choice. It's go to jail or go to the military. A guy I knew well. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was kind of the impression. Those who went into the military, and that was the defining moment. Up until Vietnam, there were generations of young men who were taught, well, first of all, it was a draft. So even if you didn't believe it, they were going to pull you in. Elvis got drafted. There was nobody immune to the draft system in those days. And then we went to an all-volunteer force because of the Vietnam War and the resistance to joining the draft. And they thought, we're not going to fight with this anymore. We're just going to get people who want to be there, and and either because they see it as a career or they see it as a commitment or whatever it is, we're going to attract people to do that. I was that generation. I would never have ever never thought of going into the military, nor would anybody I know have thought of going into the military. We didn't. I'm sorry to say, we didn't value it. We didn't respect it. We sure as heck didn't want to get shot. And so we did everything we could. Bill Clinton and George Bush, they're the first baby boomer presidents, and they both found ways around it. Bush got daddy to get him into the Air National Guard, which he reportedly hardly ever showed up for. And Clinton, college and every other deferment he could come up with. We don't have leaders anymore who've served. Obama didn't serve. Trump didn't serve. We don't place that high. But it was a point in time you couldn't imagine. Every U.S. president has served. Kennedy, courage and profiles. Yes. Profile and courage, rather. That was just part of the backstory that you built. And part of it was by going into the military. You couldn't imagine hiring somebody who hadn't been in service. And then it started around my era when we started saying, I don't think so. This isn't part of the national name. My dad was in the service, everybody's dad was. My dad fought World War II and was proud of it.
Yeah, it taught me quite a bit, spending a number of years with what we call the devil dogs.
Devil dogs. You were a devilist. So what were the devil dogs? What were they? Tell us. You never.
The devil dogs. The Marines got that name from a battle during I think it's Belleau Woods.
Belleau Woods in World War I. Yes. Exactly.
Yep. During the war where we were fighting, I believe, the Germans during the time, and the Marines were such a voracious force that the Germans gave us that name. So these guys are the devil dogs coming after us, and I think that's the history behind that.
So, how long did you serve, and where did you serve?
I was full reserves, active reserves for 5 years. I was in Camp Pendleton. I spent a lot of time in 29 Palms out in the desert, where where we were digging trenches in over 100 degrees summer weather.
And you know what the good news is out in 29 Palms? We never were invaded in 29 Palms. So you must have done a good job. Nobody ever invaded us in 29 Palms.
Exactly. It was fun digging these trenches in 110 degrees, and as soon as your trench was dug and it looks like a pretty trench, they say, "Great job. Let's move on and dig another."
Fill it
trench.
in, yeah.
Fill it in, and I spent some time out in North Carolina, Camp Lejeune. I was out there as well.
Camp Lejeune, yes, right, exactly.
Yes,
Famous.
yes, real hot, humid, lots of mosquitoes.
Well, as maybe you know, people tune into these shows and get to know us. I grew up fascinated by the military. I'm an armchair military historian. I have read and studied military history since I was literally a little kid. I remember getting books on the Civil War when I was like 6 or 8 or whenever I started reading, and I just was always fascinated about it, but never thought I'll watch it from out there, but I'm not about to go in and get shot at. Did you ever worry about getting shot? You were you didn't have you weren't in a conflict, yeah.
I was around during the first Gulf War, 1991, 92-ish, I think around 91, and so our unit, 4th Medical Battalion, was activated to head out to the Persian Gulf, and prior to heading out to the Persian Gulf, we needed to do 2 weeks of training out in the desert to prepare to head out to the Persian Gulf. And so as we were packing our bags, getting ready to do our 2 weeks training, Saddam Hussein surrendered.
Ah, he knew you were coming.
Yeah. And so as soon as he surrendered, then we didn't have to leave for Iraq. We didn't have to leave.
How many people out there have children who've served or are serving, and how many people out there would recommend their children to serve? This was once seen as a rite of passage for young men, or women today now too, for that matter. And I don't know. I don't know. I'm not tuned in. I don't know if I'd be excited if my grandson, he's just turned 7, in 10 years, if he joins the Marines, or 10, 11 years.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a calling. It's a mindset. It's a specific type of personality, I guess.
Gung ho. You got to be gung ho. And you don't the Marines. Why the Marines? This is the biggest, baddest. You might as well be an airborne ranger or something. These are like extreme people. This isn't just being in the air. My dad was in the Air Force. He thought that was kind of glamorous, but you know, this is grunts. This is
yeah. So the Marines call the Air Force guys, fly boys.
Yeah.
The Navy, we call them taxis.
Yeah, just get us there. Just get us there.
Yeah, we call them taxis, But anyway, I respect them all. But I think it's the idea of seeing a challenge and challenging yourself.
There you go.
To say that, yes, the Marines is tough compared to, maybe physically, mentally, emotionally tough. You're usually the first to land, the first to go to battle.
Yeah, exactly.
And but at the same time, it's a mental challenge to say that this is something I can do. This is something I can overcome. And this is something that will make me a better person.
I would love to have on this show, I don't know if it fits our format here. We're starting a new show sometime next month, and it's a guy who was a guest, and he decided he wanted to host a show, and he was the Master Chief Petty Officer, if that's the correct title, for the whole 6th Fleet. I mean, he was not just on a carrier, but he was whatever a Master Chief Petty Officer does for the whole naval force. So he was a pretty high-ranking guy, and just a kid that, as he always says, I came from Bogalusa, Alabama, or Louisiana, and just for him, that was the only way out, was the military. And he made it his career for many years, and he rose within, as far as you can, within the enlisted ranks. Wasn't an officer, but had a high position in this. And his whole thesis, I think he's going to call it veteran force. He thinks there was a group of veterans that we can assemble to be a force for positive change in the country, and that too many of them, unfortunately, after serving, come out. They got post-traumatic stress. If they've been in battle, they've got somebody took care of them and paid all the bills, so they didn't save any money, and they come out with, they ran an aircraft carrier, but they can't get a job, because where's the job running an aircraft carrier or a missile battery or something? So and we've had many people on the number of homelessness above veterans, the number of alcohol abuse and divorce and suicide and all this stuff. These people who go through this magnificent challenge, who rise to the occasion, who answer the call when others say, let you go, come out. And I don't think the country anymore, it's not like the country doesn't care. The country does care, but they somehow think, well, they're taken care of. We got all that. No, there's a real need. Yeah.
If you serve this country, you should not be on the street for any reason.
Right. Period. End of story. Right.
This country needs to serve and take care of you. And that is, yes.
That's a crime. So what? His name is Master Chief Petty Officer Christopher Penton. And so we're looking forward to that show that'll be launching sometime. I don't have an exact time on, but we've got the show logo we're building and all this stuff. And that would be an interesting cross promotion to have you come on here, because he's primarily interested starting with financial health of the veterans. He doesn't think any of these kids are ready to get a job and to have, they don't save money. As you said, particularly in today's volunteer force, you get bonuses to sign up. You get 30 grand or something. There's all sorts of incentives, and these kids just blow it. Because I got somebody paying my bills, feeding me, everything else. Hey, c'est la vie, let's just spend the money here or something.
Yes.
Let's get a fancy car or something. So they're not coming out finance. And he said, as pro-military as he is, they're there to get you to make the plane fly, to get the ship to move. They're not worried about what you're going to be in 20 years, what your financial future looks like, or what your career path looks like.
Although they have the GI Bill now, and they have, these incentives to send you to education and get your college degree and a higher level degree.
So his whole thing is to turn them into a force, not just a casualty of that experience, but to come out and be a positive force.
Some of the best leadership business managers today, I've noticed, have had our veterans.
Oh,
and it's because they had to take care of teams.
Yes.
Right? Of soldiers. They had to take care of a platoon, a regiment, a battalion, and they had to manage all that. And they come out and they become really good business managers and corporate leaders and things of that sort because of that experience.
I'm reminded of a guy that I did some work with years and years and years ago, and he was a multimillionaire, very successful, boots up, ground up, built his own. It was mostly in real estate and shopping centers and stuff like that, and hospital. But he started with nothing, and he built it all up. And he was unlike me. He was just a couple years older than I was. Unlike me, he had been in Vietnam, and he had been like McCain, a pilot. And I think he was shot down. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm mixing the two stories. But I know he was in Vietnam and had been a fighter pilot. And I'll never forget, he was so precise and very driven and very focused. And he said all that came from the military. And I remember once I showed up at a meeting, as I was wont to do in those days, about 20 minutes late, 15 minutes late. Oh, no big deal. Sorry, big problem and everything else. He chewed me out. He said, son, he said, you don't understand what late means to me. He said, for years I flew fighters and jets and stuff. He said, when I showed up late, people died. I thought, and it really, I don't know, I'd love to go meet the guy again. So you really kind of changed my life at that point. I've never been late since. I changed my habits overnight because that so impressed me. That's the importance of being late. Oh, I'm late for work. I'm late for a meeting. I'm late for anything. No, you got you. And then the other one you should have on your show sometime is, what's his name is, the mayor of Mission Viejo, Greg Raths.
Oh, yes.
Very colorful character. And he was a Marine colonel in he flew planes, though. He was part of that thing. Last time I think he was the wing commander at one of the wings assigned to El Toro. He wasn't the base commander, but he was in charge of one of the wings, however many planes there are in a wing. And
Yeah,
and then he just comes across. He's big, and he just again embodies everything that you think of in that. And he told me once he came on one of our shows. He showed up like, I don't know, half hour early. It's unheard of. People show up 5 minutes before. And he showed up, and I said, "What are you doing here?" He said, "Well, I'm supposed to be on at 1:00." I said, "Yeah, it's 12:30." He says, right. "I'm on time." And he said, "Son," he said, when everybody calls me son when they're in the military, even though I think we're about the same age, son, when I, in the military, if they say be there at 1:00, if you show up at 1, you're late.
You're late. Yes, and you wake up and your bed needs to be, made. Yeah, anything's a little bit out of whack, you're in trouble.
So those habits that were instilled into those are two examples of people that, for them. Yeah. Your friend who was on the Phenomenal Show, what was the gentleman's name again, whose name escapes me now?
Steve Wilburn.
Yeah, Steve Wilburn. And then who was the other guy that talked about his experience?
Jerry Huson.
Yeah, all these guys. Yeah. I mean, they just have this can-do, hoo-yah attitude.
Attitude. That's what you're taught in the Marines is, overadapt, improvise, and overcome.
Say it again.
Adapt, improvise, and overcome. That's what we do all day.
All day long. That's our job. What's your job? My job is to adapt, overcome, and
improvise and overcome.
Wouldn't we all be better in this world if we could all adapt, improvise, and overcome? That's probably a healthier life. Do you think that leads to a healthier life? That sort of,
yes.
Rather than the victim, and the victim isn't just left anymore. It used to be, everybody thought, poor people the victim. Now my tribe is the victim, the poor old white people that back from the Midwest that lost factory jobs and stuff. We're the victims now.
Yes. I should tell you a quick update.
Okay.
Lilly, Eli Lilly Pharma Company made an announcement, I think about 2 weeks ago at an international Alzheimer's and Parkinson's conference.
Really?
Phase 2 clinical trials of their medication, their monoclonal antibody, showing pretty good results on. It showed about a 32% success in slowing down the decline of memory loss compared to the placebo group.
Wow, that's significant.
And also the medication being able to remove Alzheimer's plaque, the amyloid plaque in the brain. That was their phase 2 study.
So this is a pill you would take to just slow down the decline of Alzheimer's? It doesn't reverse it. Nothing reverses it.
Yeah, it's an IV medication that's given on a regular basis. And compared to a placebo group, a group that was not taking the medication.
Right.
So these are patients with Alzheimer's or mild, Alzheimer's. And so if the placebo group memory loss is going down like this over time, the group taking the medication, the decline was not as bad. It was a 32% significant difference, which is good.
I'll take that.
Even if you don't reverse it, if you can buy another 4 or 5 years of memory in somebody who's in their 70s and 80s, that's huge. That's valuable.
Yeah, that's huge. I can imagine that. All right, well, that's good news. Any idea when it would come? Again, everybody just wants to, when's it going to come to market? But it still takes a long time to.
It's phase 2, so now they got to go to phase 3. So it's going to be another clinical trial moving on to the next phase with probably more patients, larger numbers of patients, and it needs to be successful in phase 3 before they can go to the FDA.
Do you ever think we'll see a day in our lifetime when things like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's or other sorts of things, we will understand them enough to be able to, if not reverse, I don't know if we'll ever reverse them, but stop them?
We understand it now. We understand it a lot more than we did 20, 30 years ago. We understand that this plaque that builds up, right? This Alzheimer's plaque that builds up is not all due to genetics, although there's a gene involved or several genes involved. we understand that lifestyle plays a huge role in all of this.
Yeah, right. What you
Lifestyle,
eat, how you live, and everything.
how do you eat, what you eat, how you live, it plays a larger role than genetics. We understand that all these plaque production, you know, could possibly be the result of our lifestyle rather than the plaque just building up and causing the Alzheimer's. The
Right.
plaque could be the consequences of, too much sugar, not enough sleep, not enough circulation. And so these plaque buildup is a response to all that is linked to Alzheimer's.
And think of that, folks. That means that you're choosing Alzheimer's. You're choosing, I got to choose, let's see, I'm going to eat this sugary cereal like I'm going to go eat in a few minutes, or I can choose. Right. You never think of it as a binary choice. If I said, eat that, and you'll have 5 seconds of sugar high, but you're going to have 20 years from now Alzheimer's, nobody in their right mind would do it. But we don't see it yeah, right. What's the big deal? Yeah, come on, a little bit won't hurt you.
Yes, that's right. It is a binary choice. What we do every day is a choice to either improve our brain health or mess up our brain health. And
wow,
and that's that's what I'm out to preach about on a regular basis.
Yeah, we make a choice every day where we're headed. People always talk about the choice you make. You're talking about the Marines. I'm going to live a victimhood life where I got nothing. It's all against me. I got no choices. I got no chances. The whole world hates me. I couldn't possibly get ahead for whatever reason, because the color of your skin, the money you make, where you grew up, the parents you had. I couldn't do anything. My parents were horrible, and I'm forever. We all buy into limits and excuses. And we hire coaches to lose weight and go improve our whatever,
Yes.
But
I'm very excited, Paul. Then Orange County, we're turning to orange or something like that.
I think today, aren't we? Yesterday or today? I think we're going to new.
Wait, is today Wednesday or Thursday?
Today's Thursday, all day.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my memory's bad. I think if you're okay, Jenny
knows. All right, Jenny's our up to the minute reporter.
Age of 50, right. You can now get vaccinated.
Yes.
And then April. And mid-April is when they open it up to like 16 and over for COVID vaccinations.
Will they ever vaccinate children?
Not unless the studies are done, and the studies are being done now. I believe we got some data already on, I think it's Pfizer, on between the age of 12 to 15 or 16, data that shows some positive success results in teenagers age 12 to whatever, 16, 17.
But are we going to inoculate 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds like they do with polio and other sorts? I got my little polio shot when I was a little kid, and I think everybody does or whatever here.
So none of the studies have looked at kids, under the age of whatever, 10, 12.
Right.
We've only looked at teenagers at this point. And as a matter of fact, if you're a kid, your risk of getting COVID and suffering adverse consequences is super, 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 super low. So I don't know if they'll ever even need to look at that. But yeah, going to orange. But what this means is this, Paul, that I'm excited about.
Okay.
So you're at UC Irvine.
Yes.
And don't you have access at some point to doing lectures at UCI?
Yes, sir. Room? Absolutely. We have a conference room. So let's just back up a second here. The station that this is broadcast over. Most of you are watching it through Facebook, but you can also be listening to it through our site, octalkradio.biz. We're mostly a business channel. We got 20-some shows that you might want to check out, one of which is this, which was more of a community service show than more of our branding or sales shows or whatever else we do. And we our broadcast, we stream. This is internet radio, so we stream live on our channel and our social media channels from the University of California's new Beale Applied Innovation Center, named after the famous Don Beal, still with us, former chairman of Rockwell for 20 or 30 years. He endowed this and some other things. He also endowed a wet lab. We should have them on sometime. There's a University Lab Partners is the only wet lab of its kind in the county. Wow. And from what I understand, the tour I took, it's like a little science center. They've got little what do you call the things that separate centrifuges and things, and I don't know, I can't remember that word, and all this high tech. You can dispose of hazardous gases and shields that you can pour these substances behind, and you put the gloves in and you don't get zapped if it goes wrong. All this very sophisticated technology to develop not just biomedical devices, which Orange County's been known for, but actual drugs. And they've got 16 or 17. In fact, I don't know why I haven't thought of this till now. There's tons of potential guests for the show. People, most of them are kind of in stealth mode. They're trying to build out their technology. But I should have you come over and take a tour of that facility and talk to them. So the whole point of the exercise is, within this new 3-story building that used to be Broadcom's World Headquarters, there's all sorts of event spaces and conference rooms, which we have access to. And why haven't we used them? Because it's COVID. It's shut down.
But COVID is slowly going away. Let's go do some live events at UC Irvine.
Okay. And ask people, would they come over? Would they come to a panel? We've got rooms that'll hold 50 people. We've got rooms that'll hold hundreds of people. It really has to determine how many people would like to come forward. You've listened to Dr. Trinh. Maybe you've heard him speak somewhere. He's a powerful speaker. That's how we originally met. Would you come? There you go. Type in the chat.
Health Talks live events.
Yeah, would you come? And we could stream it still live. Maybe it's just a thing with an audience rather than us at home.
Yeah.
We think that would be cool. What do you think? You're the audience. Would you come? Would you share? Would you show up? It wouldn't be any charge. It's free. Yeah.
It's free. I think that'll be kind of fun. We should start. I'm going to drop by maybe if you're around, Paul. Maybe if you're going to be at the office anytime next week, I should probably drop by and take a look at some of the conferences.
Just tell me, because I'm back and forth still. We don't do like this. I'm actually not. I'm in my home studio this morning, but I'll be there all day today later as we're doing shows. I'm kind of. We're transitioning back into the studio as more and more people come out and they feel more and more comfortable. We were allowed as a radio station, technically a radio station, to still bring people in, but in an abundance of precaution, the university and us, everybody's kind of hesitant to do that. Yeah.
Yes. Same precautions.
But, so yes, you should come by. It's a spectacular facility. The sad news is that they built this. People might, if you're in the business community, you've maybe been to the old, they used to call it the Cove, this cool kind of beach theme thing. And it was pretty cool. And they used to have lots of events there, not just for the university, but a lot of it for the tech startup community and the biotech community. Ophthalmology. Orange County is the #2 community for ophthalmology research in the world. Yeah, nobody realized that. We've got more ophthalmology companies than just about any else. Where else in the world? So all of that, is source material for you. I don't know why I haven't thought about it. They used to have events there all the time, and then they built this new spectacular facility. They opened and closed it in March of last year. So for the last year, it's mostly sat empty.
So
we and a few tenants in there.
And they closed it in March, same month.
Yeah, they opened it. They had a big opening party like the end of February, first week of March, something like that, and then the whole world fell apart. And within weeks, the university shut down, and this new building shut down. Mostly, there were some tenants like us that could still come in, with exceptions, with rules, with distancing, all that kind of stuff. But for the most part, it's been sadly empty, and so they're hoping to open it. I don't know what their timetable is, but you will hear about it as COVID opens up. They want it to be the premier place in Orange County where people hold events. The second floor, there's 3 floors. The second floor is all incubators, accelerators, all the secret stuff that the general public doesn't know much about, the wet labs, all the stuff where they're developing technology. They have a Wayfinder program where they it's mostly designed to bring technology that's being developed on the university by faculty or staff or students to business. It's the transition. How do we take this out of and turn it into a real company? So they have all the Tech Coast Angels and the incubators, the accelerators, the investment programs, all that stuff. It's fascinating, all that. And it's pretty secret stuff. You can't just walk into the building. You got to have everything's biometric. Even to get to our rooms and stuff, you have to have biometric protection to get in. You feel like you're in some super secret facility. But we should do that. What do you think? Are we getting any comments here? Does anybody want to do this? Would you come to a live event?
We should do this. I know. I think this fall, UC Irvine's going back to in-class education.
I haven't heard. I mean, that's clearly where they want to go. Why would you? I can't believe it. There's another topic people can talk about. I don't have a child in college.
Right.
My daughter's past that age, and my grandson's way too young. But at some point, I will. I don't know if I was paying big bucks to send my kid to UCI, and they're just taking classes remotely
online.
Don't I get a discount for that? Don't. No.
No discount unless you're eating the dorm food.
Yeah. So I gotta wonder if they're not under extreme pressure to try and open back up again, but to do it in a responsible way, because I don't want to get all the kids sick.
Well, if most of us get vaccinated and we reach herd immunity.
Where do you think that? Give me a time frame. What's your best guess? I know you.
My time frame for herd immunity is probably this summer.
Really, that early? Okay.
Well, what that means, herd immunity means over 70% of, at least 70% of the population has been immune. Now, you can reach herd immunity through two ways. You can be vaccinated and get immunity, or you can catch COVID and get immunity. I don't know why you would want to get it the second way, but there's two ways to reach herd immunity. And so if we get to herd immunity, it means the virus has a less chance to jump around to the next person when everyone around you is immune, right? It has some kind of immunity. So my prediction is probably sometime in the summer of reaching herd immunity. The only concern that we may have is this. I think 1 out of 4 Americans probably don't want the vaccine.
Yes.
That's what I hear. About 1 out of 4 of us don't want.
My sister-in-law is one of them. Ain't taking any vaccine. I don't trust it. It's been rushed. You're going to have side effects. Not for me.
Yes. And good morning, Talar. But if we can reach some type of herd immunity at a faster rate than all these variants that are coming now.
Yeah.
That are hitting I think the Northeast, Minnesota, somewhere in the Northeast. They're seeing a spike in hospital admissions. They're seeing a spike in cases.
I've read as many as 11 states are seeing spikes again here. And to the point where the Biden administration came out and said, we're scared, guys. And that didn't really make the news. Like, are we going to go backwards? We're so close to going forward. To this perception is that we're going forward. The administration, last time I saw, that was their goal. Herd immunity freedom by the July 4th.
July 4th. Yes, that's the goal.
Symbolic time. Yeah.
That's the goal. And
so you think we're going to get there, or are we going to slide backwards here?
It depends on how fast we can vaccinate versus how fast these other COVID variants is transmitting and right now, because they're contagious they're spreading at a faster rate than the original.
So can I tell you my fear? This is not a show to talk about fears and rumors and feelings. Too much that's been driving the public debate over the last year. I don't feel safe. I don't feel like it's really that serious. I don't feel whatever extreme you are. I feel scared or I feel nonchalant. Who cares how you feel? We're trying to talk about facts. I fear a variant that will shift this to those kids that have been little chance of getting sick.
We are seeing in some of these other states where we're seeing a higher level of new cases, we're seeing more hospitalized younger folks in their 30s and 40s.
See, that was scary. And what if it ever? And everybody assumes that no variant will attack 6-year-olds. Is that true? Is this just 6-year-olds, 8-year-olds? They're just forever immune to this thing because it hasn't affected them up till now. The virus doesn't seem to go after them or like them
These
as much.
new, yeah, well, right now they're, we're not seeing those cases, but we are seeing younger folks being hospitalized for COVID.
The ones who were blowing it off, saying, "I'm going to a concert, I'm going to a party," that's a joke.
Yeah, due to the variants, we're definitely seeing that now.
Imagine if this really was a disease that sickened children, God forbid, killed children. Wow, would the country's response be different than if it was old people? Old people, they're already 80. Why are we shutting down the country to save them? They're old. They're sick already. They're going 1 foot in the grave. Let them here. Boom. People even suggested early on. Glenn Beck, I think, sort of did that on right-wing radio. Kind of, this is just make a sacrifice for America, Grandma and Grandpa. We got to keep working here. So sorry if we lose a few of you along the way. Consider it your patriotic duty to die.
Oh my word! Oh my word!
Yeah.
We got a question here from Talar.
Okay.
People back home are asking, what do you think of the AstraZeneca?
And where is back home? I don't know where back home is.
Yeah, where's back home, Talar? Is it safe for people to get it? I hear they ask clients to take aspirin for a few days after the vaccine. What are our thoughts?
AstraZeneca has been put on hold in Europe and some other places, hasn't it?
Temporarily. So the whole thing with AstraZeneca is this. There were a number of cases of blood clots. Blood clots that occurred after vaccination.
Oh, that's why you take aspirin to reduce the blood clots. Okay.
So a number of countries halted vaccinating AstraZeneca, and the data was reviewed by the World Health Organization. The